News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 26. With the 3 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettick.
Macca's delicious new Brekkie McWrap is even more reason for a pre-work Macca's run. Available for a limited time.
Disgraced former state Liberal leader David Spears has avoided jail for supplying drugs to 2 men, but a conviction has been recorded against him which could impact his overseas travel. He'll also have to do 37.5 hours of community service and pay a $9,000 fine. Spears claimed he took cocaine to escape the pressures of political life, but the magistrate said he knew the criminality of his actions and the consequences would have been obvious. A Croydon Park home is the 3rd Adelaide property to be subject to a fire from overnight. It broke out at the Regency Road home a little after 9. Warren was driving past and says the blaze was intense.
A lot of smoke though. It's an oldish house, so it looks like with the flames, looks like it's up into the roof. It looks quite severe, and they look like they're struggling a bit to get it under control.
There was also a fire at Paralawi around 1 a.m. with 2 people taken to hospital, one with burns, and another 2 men are in hospital after a clan lab blew up at Happy Valley last night. Labor claims many of the coalition's promised domestic violence measures are already being worked on. The opposition has pledged to set up a national register of DV offenders if it wins the election. It would also introduce laws making it illegal to use the internet to intimidate a partner or a family member. But Minister for Women Katie Gallagher says the government's made progress on both of those policies already.
That national register that they've announced today is already being funded and enhanced through the National Criminal Intelligence System, as are, from what I've seen, about particularly new offences. It's already an offence to use a carriage service to menace another individual.
While opposition leader Peter Dutton's rejecting the latest polls suggesting the coalition's election prospects are evaporating. News Corp has conducted exit polls at various key seats around the country. They show most people who've cast an early vote are backing the Albanese government. But campaigning in Tasmania, Mr Dutton is dismissing the results.
A lot of good polling around at the moment that I've seen just overnight as well. And when you see the seats that Labor's out defending at the moment, I think there's quite a disparity where some of the published polling is compared to some of the party polling.
Infectious diseases experts are welcoming the expansion of vaccine access for RSV. People aged between 50 and 59 years old with chronic health conditions can now get vaccinated. Professor Paul Griffin says those in that age bracket with chronic heart or lung disease should seriously consider getting the jab.
These are the people that unfortunately when they get these types of infections can end up getting more significant consequences, needing to go to hospital and even worse potentially.
And Australian actor Gerard Kennedy has died at the age of 93. The 2-time Gold Logie winner is best known for his roles in Division 4, Hunter and Homicide during a career spanning 5 decades. In his later career, Kennedy appeared in Wolf Creek 2 and Fat Tony & Co. Turning to 5AA Sport, Crows vice-captain Darcy Fogarty will miss tomorrow night's clash with Fremantle in Perth. He sprained his shoulder against the Giants and coach Matthew Nicks says he needs more time to recover.
We thought he might be a chance, being a country boy and pretty tough young man, but SC joints, they're quite painful and it might take a week or 2. We'll just have to keep an eye on how it recovers.
But Josh Rochelle could return after missing 3 games with broken ribs and an injury blow for Port Adelaide youngster Tom Cochrane. The 19-year-old is believed to have a stress fracture in his foot and could spend up to 3 months on the sidelines. Joe Richards is set to replace him in the side to play North Melbourne on Saturday. And tonight the round kicks off with Melbourne up against Richmond. Aussie surfers Isabella Nichols, Tyler Wright and Sally Fitzgibbons have qualified for the quarterfinals of the Bells Beach Pro. Fitzgibbons says she's determined to keep up with the young guns on tour.
The more I challenge myself to be at the level with the new generation, it just reseeds. I have the greatest desire to still be here.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Kent Town, a multi-car smash causing big delays into Kettleville Terrace at Rundle Street. Mansfield Park, collision on Grand Junction Road near Wingfield Road. Newton burst Watermain Gorge Road near Silks Road and Leeward Gardens, a breakdown on the freeway up track near the traffic cameras. Camera 2 this afternoon, Andrew Smith Drive at Parafield Gardens. Some things are better when they're shared, just like Faster Pasta's sharing plate menu, deliciously made and perfect to share. Sharing never tasted better at Faster Pasta. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
To the weather, mostly sunny, 26 today, cloudy tomorrow, also 26, partly cloudy on Saturday, 23, and cloudy for Sunday, 22. At the moment, 26 on 5AA, always Adelaide.
I'm Tom Wren. Tonight, former opposition leader David Speers admits his deepfake lie as he's convicted and fined for supplying cocaine. The 8-hour queue to farewell the Pope. At 6, we're live to the Vatican. Also, the surprising link between blood pressure and dementia, and the Crows fly to Perth without a big name star. 9 News, your news. Nightly at 6 on 9 and 9 now.
The 5AA Sports Show, Rowie and Timmy G.
Is there a better team when they're up and going, more dominant than Port Adelaide at the moment?
Loved it. Loved that comment. Name a better team than Port when they're up and going. Crows, for me, are far better when they're up and going. As a scoring team, Tex, Dilthorpe, Rankin, Fogg, Rochelle.
The 5AA Sports Show.
They go.
Geez, how come that was the first one you thought of?
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA, always Adelaide.
If working with NDIS plans is a source of confusion or frustration, there is an easy way forward. At Complete Care, you're given a client service manager. Think of them as a concierge, there to assist and recommend services as they're needed, from cleaning and home maintenance to social support and transportation. They're essential to our clients and always available to their loved ones. It's just one of the things we do that sets us apart. Trust client service managers from Complete Care with a K.
Hitting the open road? Camper Agent RV Supercentre is the only place to go for the biggest range of new and used caravans and motorhomes, including top brands like Winnebago, Windsor, Corrimal, Hitchhiker, X-Tour and more. Hurry in for clearance specials, ready for immediate delivery and priced to move fast. Save up to $15,000. Plus, get a 3-year warranty on great value pre-owned Kia and Talbot motorhomes and camper vans. Visit Camper Agent RV Supercentre Parafield Gardens to start your adventure.
Hi, it's David Penberthy here with Martin Penny from Paint Professionals. Is it true that your dad actually painted for the royal family?
Yes, my father was handpicked to paint the Queen's bedroom, Charles and Di's honeymoon suite. Whether you're in Wayville or Morfett Vale or Springfoot or Glenelg, it really doesn't matter. To us, everybody deserves that same treatment.
So get your whole home painted or just a room. Get in touch like we did with Marty and his incredible team at Paint Professionals. Visit paintprofessionals.com.au. Paint Professionals, brush with the best.
Is your solar system keeping up with your rising power bills? Then upgrade your solar system now with Manic Solar. We can replace your old system with super high efficiency panels and the latest solar inverter technology. Speak to us about battery solutions and eliminate your power bills today. Don't wait. Book a free in-home inspection by calling 1300 Manix or go online anytime at manix.com.au. Solar power from the SA name you know and trust.
Sharman Shelving isn't just for business and affordable van fit-outs. Sharman Shelving can transform your garage too. Their Aussie tough steel shelving, workbenches and cupboards look great and are built to last. Every time your garage door opens, you'll be bursting with pride at how great it looks. Call Sharman Shelving and get Georgia Builder to swing by for a free measure and quote. Check out sharmanshelving.com.au, follow on Facebook or take a look on Instagram.
Fluorio Milk Company will always put SA first, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for Fluorio Milk Company products and support our dairy farmers and their families. We guarantee that all our milk is 100% South Australian and it's always fresh. We have over 24 refrigerated trucks shipping Fluorio milk to cafes, restaurants and supermarkets all over SA. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide. 5AA Afternoons with Stacey Lee.
Good afternoon to you and happy Thursday. Welcome to the third and final hour of the afternoon's program, and we are now live on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. Jump on and say hi because it's time to bust some costs.
Helping you save a few dollars. Who you gonna call? Cost Busters.
And our cost buster today, joining me in the studio, is Eddie May, Managing Director of NRG Solar. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Stacey. How are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm going really well. Looking forward to another long weekend. We just had one.
Yeah, I know. How lucky are we?
So good.
Yeah. We need short weeks every week, I think. A lot to be said for a 4-day work week, or in this case, a 3-day work week.
Yeah, this one's a real short one. But yeah, there's been a lot going on in solar, so that's good.
Yeah, and if you've got a question for Eddie, 8223 0000 is the number to call. I wanted to start talking about energy in general and solar and battery storage because it has played a part this election campaign, and we said this last time we spoke about a month ago. We thought there'd be some election commitments to do with this, and there has been. Labor recently announced a 30% reduction in the cost of installing a home battery as part of its plan. If it wins the election, that'll take place from July 1. Let's start with this, Eddie. What's the average cost for a battery at the moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Chris Bowen announced this about a month or maybe 3 weeks ago, and it's not actually 30%. That's a rough kind of number. Mm-hmm. It's a rebate of $370 per kilowatt hour. So the actual cost of the battery is an important question. But roughly speaking, supplied and installed, a battery costs about $1,000 per kilowatt hour of storage. Now, the average house in Australia probably uses 15 to 20 kilowatt hours a day. So if you thought, I'll get a battery that'll see me a whole day through, that's probably 15 to 20 grand, and a 20 kilowatt hour battery would give you 7,400 off, right? So if you think about it, that's a little more than a third. So the 30% is kind of right, but the math's a bit different.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're talking for a $20,000 battery, you're getting, what was that
about
maths?
7.5 grand back from the government, right? So, and in answer to your first question, typically someone will expect to pay $10,000 to $15,000 for a battery. And again, when this rebate kicks off, yes, about a third of that will be taken off that price. So it's quite a significant rebate. And I've even got, in the past, quite a lot of our customers will pay cash for their solar and they'll borrow money for their battery, and they'll use the savings in their electricity to pay their battery off, right? Oh. So now what can happen is people can still do that and then take this money from the government as a lump sum credit, use that to buy their solar, or, I don't know, do whatever they like with it, really.
Yeah, okay. And what was the consultation like in the lead up to this being announced? Is that something that political parties do? I know in different industries, when they're making a health announcement, they might consult with nurses and doctors. Do they consult with the solar industry before they make these announcements?
This time it's been particularly excellent, I would say.
Oh,
so
okay.
Chris Bowen, he's in a caretaker role. So when you make an announcement, you're in a caretaker role. You can't actually make decisions during this election period. And it's something I kind of never really thought about too much till this election.
Yeah.
So basically, he said there is going to be a period of time where people are going to not be sure what to do. And he consulted mainly with the industry about, how we should react to people inquiring about this. And his message was very, very clear to industry. It's like, be business as usual. We will make sure if you're installing solar right now that I've made you this promise, that if it takes a month or two for us to get this bill in place, we will figure out a way for your customer to still get the rebate. So even if this isn't in place by the 1st of July, you can buy a battery today. You can have it installed by us next week. There's a few little things we've got to do to be compliant around it, but you will get your rebate later on down the track, which has been excellent for customers who weren't sure what to do. They're like, I'll just do it now. And we've installed quite a few of them. One of them for a guy that works here at FIVEAA, actually.
There you go.
And we've just installed it at his house. And at the moment, what we've got it's fully installed and it's just turned off right now. And and the election's next week. So once that election comes through, we'll know, do we turn it back on or do we do a bit more paperwork? So he'll get the rebate regardless.
Oh,
which is excellent.
That is good, because otherwise you would have had, I assume, a very quiet month or so, because people would be waiting for the election result. If you were considering 3 weeks ago buying a battery and then there was an announcement that you could get at an approximately 30% reduction after May 3, you'd go, all right, well, I'll just wait a few weeks. So your business would have suffered.
Well, it would have slowed right down, but there's another impact as well, and that's when there's a mass rush of supply and demand, what normally happens? Prices go up, right?
Yeah.
So this flattens out that rush a little bit. Now, it is going to get very busy, don't worry. If Labor get in next week, it's going to become really, really busy. So, I think it's still a great time to sort of start getting your quote, start talking to your provider, give us a call if you want, or whoever else you like, and just start getting ready to pull the trigger really, really early. Because if you leave it until July or August, potentially the price could be inflated, so that could be a thing.
Yeah.
And that's not just because everyone's greedy. It's just simply, manufacturers' costs will go up, supply and demand drives costs up all over the place. And then the second part is there'll be delays in installation. If people are booked out for the rest of the year, you might not be able to get any savings from this battery until next year.
Well, that was my next question. Will we see, sometimes when you see announcements like this, let's just stick with the 30% just because it's an easy figure to use. When there's an announced 30% reduction in the cost of something, usually the cost goes up by, look at that, about 30%. So a battery goes from 10% to, now I can't do the maths.
Yeah.
Never try and do maths that quickly on the radio.
Yeah, I get you.
Up to $13,000. So you get your 30% discount, so it brings it back down to the cost that it was before. Can you see that happening?
Look, the thing is, our industry's used to being pulled in different directions by government policy.
Yeah.
So I think we're quite used to understanding that we often ride the highs and the lows. So I don't really see that being a massive issue too much, but I do think that the manufacturing prices could go up, transport and installation and labour could go up. So profits might not up, but all the surrounding things. So I don't see it being 30%, but what I see being the major disadvantage is how long you will have to wait to get one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if you have to wait 6 months for a battery to be installed, you may have lost $2,000 there in savings, or $3,000 or some amount in savings.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the biggest loss to you, right? If you get early in the queue, you'll avoid the price rise and you'll avoid the loss of lost energy.
Yep. Absolutely, because they make a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And if you want to see that difference as soon as once you've made the decision to have solar or battery, you then want to see that difference, because it's a big financial outlay for a lot of homes and a lot of families. So if you've come to that decision to make it, then you kind of want to go, all right, I want to see the savings now.
Well, if you buy a battery and you put down a deposit, opening up your next 2 electricity bills are going to be pretty frustrating.
Cruel, yeah.
Cruel, yeah. It's a great way of looking at it.
You're looking at it shuddering, going, I'm not meant to be getting this bill right now.
So my big advice to everyone, my friends, my family, and everyone, the listeners, is to just get yourself in line so that you can take advantage of it real quick.
Okay. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Eddie's here to answer your questions. So maybe it's been on your radar to get a quote for solar and battery, and you would like some advice. 8223 0000 is the number to call, and we'll take those calls in just a moment.
Oh, here's one. Hey, you leaving, mate?
Yeah, 1 sec, buddy.
Okay, no worries. Come on. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Parking turning you into someone you're not?
Search UPark app today.
Can't wait to see your future home? Let's bring your vision to life. Visit one of Rossdale Homes' many display villages across Adelaide and the Hills. Explore our stunning layouts, finishes and our latest designs for inspiration. Whether it's single story, two-story, split level or even a custom build, our friendly Rossdale team is here to answer all your questions. For open times and locations, visit rossdalehomes.com.au. Rossdale Homes, your local SA builder, because trust is a must.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated, because it's personal.
Complete Windscreens, home of the Big Red Koala. We're a 50-year-old family-owned business that is now an RAA-approved repairer. So for chip repairs, supply and fit windscreens, tinting and ADAS calibration, make sure you tell your insurer or fleet manager you want Complete Windscreens on the job. For emergency glass repairs, contact Complete Windscreens for the best price, quality and same-day service. CompleteWindscreens.com.au, 220 Main North Road, Prospect, home of the Big Red Koala.
Go Harvey Norman. April's super deals on now. Save over $500 on Sony's 75-inch 4K TV. Save $600 on Electrolux French door fridge. Save $200 on Acer Aspire Intel Core i5 laptop. Save $350 on Samsung Galaxy S24. 10% off already low prices on selected big brand mattresses. And X-Display and floor stock furniture priced to clear. More super savings in store and online. Harvey Norman April's super deals. Best prices guaranteed. Conditions apply.
The Kia Cerato set the bar as Kia's most popular small sedan. Now, the new first ever Kia K4 raises it. Best in class second row legroom, ultra wide screens, and a GT line that comes turbocharged. Enter Kia's biggest small sedan, the Kia K4. Small sedan, big personality. Test drive today or find out more at kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
5AA Afternoons with Stacey Lee.
22 minutes past 3 here on 5AA. We're in the middle of Cost Busters with Eddie May from NRG Solar. So if you've got a question about solar or battery storage, he's here to answer them. 8223 0000. And Phil in Bellevue Heights has given us a call. Hello, Phil.
Yeah, hi, Stacey. Just a question for Eddie. With the when you're quoting $20,000 for a battery, is that a 10 kilowatt one, is it, or is it a 5 kilowatt one?
I was talking about a 20 kilowatt hour battery. So $20,000 typically at the moment would buy you around 8 to 10 kilowatts of solar and a home battery as well, maybe a 10 or 12 kilowatt hour battery. That's about 20 grand.
But you've got to have three phase to have that value, don't you?
To have the
You can only have 5 kilowatts per phase.
No, you can. No, you can actually have 10 kilowatts per phase. You can only export 5 kilowatts per phase to the grid. But that was a few years ago. Now we have flexible exports. You can generally export the whole 10 kilowatts to the grid as well under the SA Power Network flexible export plan. So we're happy to explain more to you about it. But it's certainly system sizes are allowed to be bigger per phase now.
Okay then. Well, thanks for that.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay then. Cheers.
See you, Phil.
See you, Phil.
Thanks for the call. 8223 0000 is the number. Marty in Salisbury Heights has sent us a text, Eddie. He says, is it worth buying a battery without solar so I can buy power when it's cheap and use it when it's expensive?
I love Marty's question because I believe that it is.
I've never even thought of that.
Yeah, look, I don't know that the current rebate we were just talking about is applicable to battery without a solar. So that's one thing to bear in mind. But interestingly, that I have a block of land up the river that I'm going to start building on at some point, and I've got a battery there with no solar, and it trades the energy market. And I make money from that, exactly what Marty is talking about. So I think there's a huge opportunity, particularly for apartment buildings and places where you're not allowed to put solar on to do exactly what Marty says. Get your battery to buy when the price is cheap and then you use it when the price is expensive. He's on the money there, and I love that idea.
Yeah, I've never even thought about that. Okay. What about the other way right now? Would it be worthwhile buying solar without a battery?
Look, not for everyone.
Because the rebates are so low. Feed-in tariff.
The feed-in tariffs are low. So I honestly think not for everyone. If you can't generally use your power during the day, you should probably make sure that you've done your sums to work out whether it's right for you.
All right. Let's go to Chris in Windvale. Hello, Chris.
So, hey, how you going?
Good.
I just have two quick questions. The first one is I've just recently moved house. Well, first of all, on the first house I had, we installed a battery and solar system through NRG, the Powerwall 2. No problem with that. It was great installation, great work. But then I've moved house, and my parents have moved into the house that I moved from.
Lucky them.
Yes. And I got the Tesla Power 3 on the new house. But because I've got the Power 2 in the old house, I can't connect to the app. It won't let me access it. And then I've spoke to the installer. He sorted that out, but I'm still not the master account. I was just wondering if you had any ideas how to rectify it, because I can't seem to contact Tesla in any way, shape or form.
Don't contact Tesla. Shoot me an email through to our work and I'll just get my tech guys to do it for you. Tesla are absolutely flat out dealing with this grant at the moment. We'll sort it out for you real quick.
That'd be amazing. Thank you very much for that.
No worries.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Maxine in Paralawi. Hello, Maxine.
G'day, guys. I just got a question about existing solar. We've already got a 6.3 kilowatt system on our house, and whether or not you can put a new battery onto that system, or whether we'd have to get a whole new system.
No, that's a great question, Maxine. Generally, we can put a battery onto any system. Sometimes we do an analysis to make sure that system's the right size and you don't need to add any more panels. But for many people at the moment, we're actually adding a battery and maybe a few more panels, but leaving the old system there. I'm a great believer in, don't put anything into landfill if it doesn't need to be. So we've worked out ways for you to keep that system and add a battery.
All right, cool. I might be in touch. Thanks, Eddie.
Awesome, Maxine.
Thanks, Maxine. Let's go to Kapunda now. Hello, Len.
Yeah, hi. Just a general question. The lifespan of a battery, how long does the battery last for?
That's a great question, Len. Look, most batteries that'll be eligible under this battery rebate scheme that Chris Bowen has announced will have to have a warranty of at least 10 years.
Okay.
So manufacturers that make batteries that won't last that long won't be part of this scheme anyway. But the other thing to do with the battery life is how often it's used. So someone who puts on a really small battery compared to their use probably thrashes it like a small car that's got too much stuff in it. And somebody who puts the right size battery or even a slightly oversized battery, it'll last a lot longer. I suspect that the average life of a battery will well exceed its warranty. So, in my head, I feel like batteries with 10-year warranties would have possibly a 15-year sort of lifespan or even more.
Okay, so, yeah. Like I said, it's just a general inquiry. I've got a 10 kilowatt system and 13.6 kilowatts of battery backup. When I bought my batteries, I only paid like $4,500.
Oh, stop it, Len.
The higher the subsidy.
So good, because that's the benefit of a subsidy. So that's excellent, Len.
Yeah, good on you.
Well, you don't have to worry too much about how long yours has lasted for in a way, because it's already paid for. So that's excellent.
Jealous, Len. All right, let's go to Andrew in Ridgehaven. Hello, Andrew.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all going?
Good, thank you.
Good, mate.
Just got a query. I was told some time ago that some certain council areas, and I will name them if you wish me to, actually get a subsidy for installing a battery. And the subsidy worked out at half price some years ago.
Is this a virtual power plant thing?
No, this is actually like what you talk about now, your battery with your solar. And here this guy was a battery installer and solar installer, and he showed me the invoice, and they were getting a rebate for the price of the battery, half the price.
Yeah, look, I've heard that a few times. Look, I don't see all council programs working perfectly. I won't sort of comment on the reasons why, but I've noticed that sometimes the battery product isn't necessarily what you would pick. I'm a firm believer that it is not a one-size-fits-all scenario, and quite a lot of these council programs are a bit one-size-fits-all. We've actually removed a couple of batteries for customers that were part of a council program because they were just unsuitable for the need of them. So it is possible. It's definitely a thing, Andrew. But like anything, sometimes when it's too good to be true, it needs just a little bit of research, I reckon, and take a bit of advice on it.
I was looking into one, and it's sort of there were a few caveats involved. You know, that the power would be used to power council buildings at certain times, and you didn't have complete control over what was happening with the solar that you're generating on your house, and there was a certain period of time that the battery wasn't technically yours, or the council owned some of it, and there was a bit of it that a big part of it that I just felt uncomfortable with. So you'd probably have to check with the council and the exact details of the contract, I imagine, Eddie.
Yep, spot on. That's kind of what I was referring to. You said it so much nicer.
No, I don't know about that. Well, there you go. All right. It's always fun to chat, Eddie. It's always topical. And I guess next time we talk, we'll know whether or not this discount will apply. We'll know who's won the election and whether or not that commitment will be fulfilled.
Yeah, well, it's only a week away, so it won't be long.
Not too long at all. All right, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure, Stacey.
Eddie May there from NRG Solar, the Managing Director, and he's one of our regular cost busters, so he'll be back on in a few weeks. Hopefully we'll organise another time. Sorry, I've just put him on the spot. And if you've missed out on asking him a question today, don't worry, he'll be back and you can ask it next time. But right now it's 29 minutes to 4. It's time for news headlines, and then we're going to cross to Deanna Williams, court reporter for Channel 7. She was in court today when former opposition leader David Speers was sentenced for drug supply. We'll hear from her next.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Good afternoon, I'm Kendall Brettig. A conviction has been recorded against former state Liberal leader David Speers over 2 drug supply charges, but he's avoided jail time. Opposition leader Peter Dutton's refusing to accept latest polls showing Labor's heading for an election win next weekend. US President Donald Trump is accusing Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of prolonging the war with Russia. And Darcy Fogarty will miss the Crows game against Fremantle tomorrow night, while rookie Tom Cochrane is set to miss the Powers clash against North Melbourne. Mostly sunny and 26. At the moment, 26. More news at 4 o'clock on 5AA, always Adelaide.
For a unique take on everything happening in SA, join Matthew Abraham each Thursday with David and Will.
So do you reckon the election's over, Matt? A lot of people seem to think it is.
I'm grappling with it, let's put it like that. Normally I would have made a fearless prediction about 4 months ago or something like that. I just can't get a handle on this one.
Matthew Abraham.
I mean, it looks like it's over. If you go on all the polls, and they've been quite consistent, it looks like there will be a majority Albanese government.
Thursday mornings from 7:30, only on Adelaide's 5AA.
The money for Peter Dutton's $600 billion nuclear plan has to come from somewhere. So, 20 years to build, to make up under 4% of the grid, and a CSIRO says it will drive up power bills. And he'll have to drive up the cost of everything else to pay for it. So under Dutton, your health costs go up, under Dutton your tax goes up, under Dutton your HECS debt, childcare, medicines, TAFE fees go up. He cuts, you pay.
Authorised P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
Come on in.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 90 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
We've got Shane from Drummond Golf with us. Shane, you've made it so easy to improve your game with a room full of indoor simulators.
That's right, Rowie. We think all golfers out there will love our Big Swing Golf indoor simulators at Drummond Golf Mile End. We have a room full of simulators to play golf and other sports like soccer, baseball, basketball, and even football with your mates. Rain, hail or shine.
Oh, it's great fun too. These simulators, honestly, they've improved my game and I need it.
You're dead right there, Rowie. They're a great training tool. Thanks to the overhead Iron 3 camera that shows video of your club head angle, your club head speed and spin rate.
So jump online, take a look at bigswing.com.au, then call your mates and head to Drummond Golf Mile End.
Thinking of painting and don't know where to start?
We do, because we know paint at Crowie's.
So, visit Crowie's. And while you're there, join Crowie's Club to get 10% off everything.
We know paint at Crowie's.
Discover the magic of South America with Imagine Holidays and Phil Hoffman Travel. Journey from Adelaide on a 25-night adventure from just $10,499 per person. Cruise 14 nights from Buenos Aires to Santiago aboard MS Amsterdam. Explore Christ the Redeemer in Rio and experience both sides of the breathtaking Iguazu Falls. Enjoy hotel stays, guided tours and return flights from Adelaide included. For amazing value package holidays with Imagine Holidays, visit pht.com.au.
It's a fact. There are thousands of medium-sized homes all over Adelaide that have old-style, inefficient heating and cooling. So, upgrade now with Mannix. Get a super-efficient, top-quality ducted reverse cycle air conditioning system now and be comfortable all year round from an incredible $7,990 fully installed with our 10-year installation guarantee. Conditions apply. But don't delay. Prices are rising. Buy now and save. From the SA name you know and trust.
Always live. 5AA. Always Adelaide. 5AA Afternoons with Stacey Lee.
24 minutes to 4 here on 5AA. It's been a big news day in Adelaide, and the biggest story of the day, as you've been hearing in 5AA News, is the sentencing of former opposition leader and leader of the Liberal Party, David Speers. He's been sentenced for 2 counts of supplying cocaine. He's been fined $9,000 and will be forced to do community service. Deanna Williams is the court reporter for Channel 7 and was there in the courtroom when the verdict was handed down. Good afternoon, Dee.
Hi, Stacey.
How was the appearance today? How did David Speers appear as the sentence was being handed down?
Stace, well, it went for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes.
Oh.
And throughout the entire hearing, David Speers sat on the edge of the bench of the dock, right on the edge, like his hands clasped in front of him, nervously sort of twitching his hands and sitting on the edge of the dock, and he listened really intently to the magistrate, Brian Nitschke, as he delivered his sentence and the reasons for his sentence. He outlined the case that we've heard before and what he did, and he outlined a little bit more detail about what happened on that night with the 2 young men. And David listened intently throughout the whole thing, right on the edge of his seat. Right up until the very end when the magistrate said, "Now, David, I want you to stand while I deliver sentence." So I almost felt like I was on the edge of my seat as well.
A lot of suspense.
It was quite tense. Yeah, even though it went long, it was really quite tense the whole time. The courtroom was packed. It was a small courtroom, standing room only. And, you know, it was the big question on everyone's lips was he going to get a conviction? And in the end, yes, the magistrate said, look, this offending is far too serious not to impose a conviction. He imposed the conviction on both counts 1 and 2, for control for supplying cocaine to those 2 young men on that day at his house, and also ordered him to pay $9,000 and to serve 37.5 hours of community service. And then it was just all over. We had to wait for David to come out after signing his community service papers, and then after promising at the last 2 appearances that he would speak to us, and kept saying, yes, I'll have much more to say when this is over, and yet said nothing, just kept walking without his lawyers, just kept walking straight ahead, head straight ahead, and said nothing. So it was really quite a momentous day for all involved with David, for the Liberal Party, for the people of South Australia who potentially could have been voting for David Speers in next year's state election, and now his future really is unclear, and he wouldn't even answer any questions in relation to what his future holds.
And well, now because of those convictions, I don't think he could actually be an MP. I think once you have a conviction for an indictable offence, you can't sit in Parliament legally.
I'm not sure that you can.
Yeah. So he wouldn't even be eligible to be in Parliament anymore. So that is the end of his political career.
I would say so. And that conviction, that was really the key. And there's also a question mark over, whether he can travel overseas. With a conviction, we know he likes to travel to Scotland.
Oh, wow,
family
yeah.
members in Scotland. It depends on what those visa requirements are when you travel to certain countries and you apply for a visa. And obviously you have to declare any convictions, and it's whether or not that precludes him from travelling overseas. As we know he likes to do that. He's got family over in Scotland. Those sorts of questions really are yet to be answered.
What was the maximum penalty that he could have received? Was jail time an option?
Yeah, it was 10 years jail, a $50,000 fine, or both.
Right.
So he was lucky not to get a conviction. Sorry, lucky not to get a jail time, although I think, for first offences, a minor indictable, not all first offences, get a jail term. But I think it was the conviction that he was worried about. So, and even the fine, $9,000 fine.
Yeah.
Compared with $50,000, we know he was probably not going to get the maximum. But it still is a big cloud over David Speers.
Absolutely. And the 37 and a half hours of community service, do we know anything about that? Do you ever hear any more in any case about what sort of community service someone has to take part in?
No, you don't, but I'm assuming what happens is they go into a group of people, of other people who have been ordered to serve community service, and I believe that they meet somewhere, they get taken by corrections, and they might go to, for example, a park or something like that, or a roadway, and they have to clean up the roadway, clean up the park. That sort of thing is often what happens with community service. It may well be that he has to serve it in his general area, or he might be taken somewhere else to serve community service. It's usually with a whole group of other people who are also serving, or have been ordered to serve community service. It's that sort of thing. And I don't know whether the extra half hour comes from 37 and a half hours of community service. But it's interesting, the magistrate did say that every 7 hours that he doesn't complete, he will have to serve 1 day in jail. So it's in his best interest to do that time. I mean, it's community service, really. He's very lucky.
Yeah,
do the community service, and then basically he's got a conviction and nothing else. Paid a fine, and that's the end of it for him.
And you're free, yeah.
He's still got a conviction hanging over him, which is not a good thing for a former politician.
No. Now, I know you've been reporting on court cases for a long time. We are getting some text messages from people today suggesting that he was let off lightly. Shane on the text line says if this was anybody else from the public who was charged with these drug charges, they would have received a much worse penalty. He got off lightly, if you ask me. In your experience spending time down at courts, don't want you to comment on the appropriateness of a magistrate's penalty, but it is, as you mentioned, a first offence. Do you think he got off lightly?
It's a minor indictable offence. It's a first offence. He's of otherwise good character. Do you know what I mean? He's not convicted. He's not convicted of any other offences. He's not been before the courts before. There were a lot of mitigating circumstances that the magistrate mentioned that would lean towards him. I think it's a reasonably fair sentence for someone who has never been before the courts before. It's 2 counts of supply. We're not talking trafficking or anything like this. And I think there would be a lot of people before the courts previously and to come who would probably be given the same sort of sentence. Not everyone who gets charged with supply goes to jail. Otherwise, you'd have the jails full of people with convictions for supplying a drug. I don't think that he got off lightly. I think, look at all the publicity. And he did say the publicity has thrust him into the spotlight like nobody else would have done. But the magistrate did say, look, yes, you have been thrust into the public arena, but that was an injury of your own doing, that you caused that. You know, you are a public figure. What did you expect? It's hardly surprising that you are going to attract so much media attention.
Yeah,
he did,
self-inflicted.
He did say that.
Yeah,
self-inflicted.
Yep.
You know, what did you really expect anything other than that? You know, you helped to draft the very laws that you have yourself broken.
Oof.
Do you know what I mean?
That's heavy. Yeah. Well, it's true.
He would have sat in Parliament and voted on, helped draft and voted on drug laws that he now has gone and broken. It was, you know, he read the Riot Act to him. In my opinion, he said, sure, you know, you turned to drugs as a form of escapism because you were under stress in the job, but you know, you had the mechanisms as an intelligent adult male. You had the mechanisms to seek help for any stressors that you had in your life. That you didn't need to turn to drugs, but you did, and you knew you were committing a criminal offence, and you still went ahead and did it. And between the two charges, counts 1 and counts 2, on those two separate occasions, you said you had the opportunity not to do it a second time, yet you chose to do it a second time. They were not spontaneous events. They were planned events that you invited these two men over, and you had the drugs, and you offered them the drugs. You know, it was really, really not much that the magistrate left out in that sentence today.
So what now? Do you expect that we will hear from David Speers at some point? I mean, you and I have spoken in the past at previous appearances that he's had in court. The first few, he was very chatty. He was happy to talk to the media on the way out.
But he didn't say very much, Stacey. He said a lot without saying anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he kept saying,
politician.
I just want this matter to be resolved as quickly as possible, and then I'll have more to say as we get to the end of this matter. So then today I said, okay, David, we are at the end. What have you got to say? Speak to us. Speak to the people of South Australia. And he just steadfast, just kept walking, would not say a word. And I said, come on, you promised last time that you would speak to us. Just stop and then speak to us. Tell us what happened. And still did not say. I asked him questions about where his future lies now. What now for David Speers? Refused to answer those questions as well. So it's really, who knows? David Speers is the only one who knows what's next for him. I guess he's got a lot of soul-searching to do. But we really didn't get any more, he didn't shed any light on what the future holds for him because he just refused to talk to us.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll wait and see if we hear from him in the future.
But, watch this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate your time today, Dee. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Stacey.
That's Deanna Williams, court reporter with 7 News, and you can see her report at 4 o'clock and then again at 6 o'clock during 7 News. It is 12 minutes to 4 here on 5AA. That means it's almost time for the sports show with Rowie and Timmy G. And up next, we'll talk to Rowie and see what they've got in store.
James Blunt is returning for his 2025 Australian Back to Bedlam tour. After a sold-out national tour in 2024, James Blunt returns to AEC Arena on Tuesday the 28th of October for one incredible night. Want to be there? Keep it on 5AA for your chance to win tickets or grab yours now at destroyalllines.com. James Blunt, Back to Bedlam 2025 Australian Tour, proudly presented by 5AA, always Adelaide.
Simplicity Funerals make funeral planning the way it should be. Simple. With our easy and straightforward packages, it has never been simpler to organise a respectful funeral. Visit simplicityfunerals.com.au or call us 24/7 to get started today.
Less pear.
More Pinot.
Less Crom.
More canapes.
Less Marks.
More marquees.
Less Ferrells.
More frocks. This autumn, give the footy a miss and have a real ball at the Sportsbet Adelaide Racing Carnival, the nation's finest horse racing, April 26 to May 10.
More?
Morfettville.
The new Subway signature chicken pepperoni. A perfect pairing of tender rotisserie-style chicken and pepperoni with melty mozzarella. Superb. Yeah, I think that works.
When you hear Vinnie's SA, what comes to mind? Is it crisis centres for men and women in Adelaide? Or Vinnie's Society members visiting homes, delivering food, baby bundles and other essentials? Do you think of the crisis line, offering support during life's most distressing moments? Or the thousands of meals prepared so vulnerable people don't go hungry? Vinnie's is so much more than your local op shop. Donate or volunteer today. vinnies.org.au/SA.
Welcome to the circus. Arcade, bowling, crazy shakes and prizes. All in a day's play at Archie Brothers Cirque Electric. Good times guaranteed. Search Archie Brothers deals for great school holiday offers.
24 MasterChef favourites are back for a second chance. And Gordon Ramsay's back too.
This is your chance to rewrite history.
MasterChef, 7:30 Monday on 10 and 10 Play.
Get the garden you want at Garden Grove. Wander through Garden Grove's beautiful nursery, blooming with thousands and thousands of plants, greenery, and all the colours of the rainbow. There are plants for inside and plants for out. For the garden you want, see Garden Grove. Golden Grove Road, Golden Grove.
Garden Grove,
That's the garden.
Garden Grove,
That's the garden.
Garden Grove.
The garden that I want.
Phone 8251 1111 for delivery to all areas.
Why rent your power when you can own it? It's a serious question. Why rent your power when you can own it? NRG Solar and Battery Storage gives you control, protecting you from energy prices and unexpected bills. Remember, every dollar you invest today moves you closer to long-term savings and comfort without the bill shock. Take more control of your energy and savings today. Jump online and visit nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160.
5AA Afternoons with Stacey Lee.
Eight minutes to 4 here on 5AA. I've just received a text message on my mobile phone, my personal phone, not on the text line. And it was from someone called Trumpet. And I thought, I don't have a contact in my phone called Trumpet. Who's Trumpet? It's the Trumpet of Patriots. Have a listen to this. No grammar, no capital letters, no commas, no full stops. Solve housing, fast trains, 20 minutes, CBD, cheaper land, super for deposit, 3% interest, cut immigration by 80%. Authorised by H. Fong, Trumpet of Patriots. Can you tell there's an election in the air? And there's no way to opt out. There's nothing to click to stop getting these messages. I don't know. Again, I don't know how they got my number. They've collected my details somewhere. I mean, everyone's number's on the dark web now. We've had that many data hacks and leaks and breaches that they've probably got all my information, all of the parties. But you ready for it, people? We've got a week to go. Rowie and Timmy G are on after 4 o'clock and Stephen Rose in the studio. Hello, Rowie.
I won't talk politics.
Oh, hold on. Wrong. I always get your microphone on wrong. There you go. There we go.
I'm not going to talk politics.
No.
It is Anzac Day tomorrow, our most significant day on our Adelaide calendar. It's 80 years since the end of World War II. Can you believe that?
No.
And just some broad stats. Over 61 million Allied soldiers and civilians died. Think about that, 61 million. After World War I, which was dubbed the war to end all wars. And that we land here in 2025 again, I think, in worrying times. So I don't want to waste that. I want us to get up and honour, if you can, at an RSL, at your local RSL. And if you can't get there, watch it on telly or just pay a thought. You don't have to be religious. Bow your head and basically say thank you for the lives that we have, for men and women and innocent bystanders or civilians that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And to think about that number is scary. And I haven't even mentioned what the other side lost. And you think, I'm not saying we're on the brink, but we're in unstable world times, and I worry about that.
Yeah.
I worry about that as a human. I worry about that as a dad. I worry about that as a grandfather. I've just had a newborn. You're about to have a newborn.
Yep.
And it's hope and joy and future and you know, life ahead is just going to be fantastic. But in uncertain times, it's a worry. So it's a time to reflect on what we've done in the past, how tragic it was, and we try not to, as a human race, with all our leaders and the decision makers, not ever get back there again, or even the threat of it. And that's how I reflect on this day. And I don't want to waste those 61 million Allied soldiers and civilians' lives for nothing, to only be back there again. Is that a fair comment?
Well said. Well said. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it worries me, Stacey.
It does.
And I'm looking at a mother-to-be.
Yeah.
And today is Thursday, so I get to play with my babies, which I did. And yeah, I don't get emotional. I just get worried. I get alarmed. And I don't want to be an alarmist, because I could talk to my mum about that. Yeah. And she said, well, we had World War II.
Yeah,
and then I could speak to my pop, and he lived through the Depression and World War I. Well, what have we learned?
Yep. I know.
We've had all these other wars, Korean, Vietnam. We've got what's happening around the world now, uncertain times. Russia's moving into Indonesia. You've got China doing what they're doing in the Timor Sea. You've got war games. You've got all this posturing. You've got everything.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, I know. What have we learned?
I want to have enough faith in the human race that we don't get to that point again. And Google it, look it up, have a look at the history. That was 80 years ago. Speak to a past soldier. Well, a lot of them are gone now. From World War I, and certainly World War II. 80 years ago, on September the 2nd, it finished with those casualties.
61 million.
Oh, well, that's a rough estimate. Now, I'm on the live stream holding my fingers up, a rough estimate. I mean, honestly, it'd probably be worse than that. Anyway, stay in your lane, lest we forget. Try and get
absolutely.
out there. A big show. Crows, Murray Davis will be on. Crows take on Fremantle tomorrow. Now, I'm going to declare it. I don't give a stuff now. I'm just going to move on. Crows beat Fremantle over there. The lid's off.
Done.
What? Done?
Oh, no.
I haven't got camp or anyone to pull me back.
Hold on. Is this what I'm meant to do?
No.
No, is that the wrong sound effect?
No, that's the right one.
Okay.
BT Brian Taylor from Channel 7 will join us, and Tyson Moneybags Goldsack. That's his nickname. Goldsack.
Yep.
Money,
I got it, yep.
They play, okay. Mm-hmm. Stacey, have a lovely weekend.
Yeah.
I hope I wasn't an alarmist there.
No. I think it was very well said.
It's a reflection. It's a, where are we? Where do we want to go? What have we learnt from the past? And let's not make the same mistakes for a third time.
And that's what Anzac Day is all about.
Correct.
It's about commemoration and reflection.
Well said.
So, well done. Thank you, Rowie.
I got out of my lane, but it's a lane I like being in.
No, I don't think so. I think it's everyone's lane.
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Well said. All right.
Thank you.
See you, mother-to-be.
See you after 4, Rowie and Timmy G. Make sure you stay on for the sports show. Thank you for your calls and your texts today. Thank you to Julie. She said she got that same message and blocked the caller. Great thought, Julie. I'll do the same when I get off air. Appreciate that. I hope you all have a very safe, long weekend. Do, as Rowie said, take a moment to commemorate, reflect in whatever way you like to do that, whatever way you're able to do that tomorrow. I will be doing that, and I hope you do as well. And have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday.
Coming up next, Adelaide's only local sport show. It's the very latest in sport, live from Adelaide.